Hey guys, welcome to another episode of The Mind of Reese. Holy shit. If you are listening to this episode as it is released, I am in the Amazon rainforest about to do ayahuasca with the Yawanawa tribe. And so that is super exciting. And we will actually get into that in this episode. This episode is talking about me leading up to it. So as far as today, I have not been there, but as you get this, I am here. I am there. I am here. I am there. Holy moly. I am figuring this out. So let's see what's going on in my world. Right now, Opaque tattoos, Opaque rituals and techniques is out, meaning if you would like a program talking about how I do my portrait, black and gray, opaque style tattoos, this is something you are going to want to get into. And what's so cool about it is that in the next 3 weeks, I am offering 6 different coaching experience, and one lucky winner is going to win intuition for Inspired Academy, which is my 10-week foundational business course for tattoo artists looking to create sustainable growth within their business. And so yeah, we've got some prizes going out. So if you are someone that is looking to up their portrait game and has always really wanted to know what it's like to have me as their spiritual tattoo business coach, this is your opportunity to win that. So you can go and purchase that. Everything is in the show notes. This puts you in the raffle basically to be able to get in there and win one of these prizes. In the coaching meetings that we will be having, we'll talk about your technique, we'll talk about business, we'll talk about spirituality, whatever it is that you want to talk about. And the person that wins Inspired Academy Intuition, it's a $3,000 intuition. So yeah, that sounds like a no-brainer. So if you are interested in the opaque style of portraiture, go pick that up and you will be entered in to win one of these prizes. Also, I have just opened up the pathways to now start booking in 2023 a one-on-one day with me, which means that you will get to come to my shop and I will literally shadow how you tattoo. We make this a very client-led experience. We talk about tattooing, we get into tattooing, we actually tattoo. You shadow me, I shadow you. We up your tattooing game. We talk about your business. We structure, strategize, energetically get into your business in a way that could be, spiritually led so that you have an easeful and sustainable and holistic tattoo business that creates so much thriving, so much wealth, so much prosperity, income, freedom, the things that we all want, in our business. So I have just offered that now. If you would like to sign up for that, show notes. I can't wait to get your application and you can go in there and do that. The first 3 people that sign up for that are getting it at a very discounted rate, which I'm going to be taking about $2,500 off for the first 3 people that sign up. So go in there, get it in, do the thing. Now, if you are an aspiring tattoo artist and you are looking to get a tattoo apprenticeship by me, oh man, we just opened up applications for that as well. So get on the wait list for that. You're not going to want to miss that. That's a really, really good one. The application email will be going out mid-November. So you don't want to miss out for that application. It's the only place that I'm sending out applications. And yeah, lastly, biggest thing is that Inspired and Aligned, my annual program workshop where we go into basically aligning yourself for the best year of your life for 2023. We cut all the cords, we do a lot of ritualing, and then we get into how you can really set yourself up for success for next year. This is not your regular goal setting workshop. This is something completely different. This is meant for creatives. So if you're a tattoo artist, a creative, an artist, whatever you are, you're creative and you are very into the woo-woo side of life. We get into spirituality, we get into manifestation, we also get into prompting, we have workbooks, we'll go 3 lives together, and I will literally lead you through how you can have the most aligned year of your life in 2023. So if you want to sign up for that, the pathways are now open to sign up. We start in December. It will be a December workshop because that'll be the end of the year, but you can get in now. You want to reserve your seat today. And yep, that's it for this. Now let's get into this episode about Mama Ayahuasca. I love you guys. Welcome back to another episode of The Mind of Reese. I am so excited to be inviting you along in the real-time experiences that I am going through as I enter into this really exciting experience of going to the Amazon rainforest for 2 weeks with the Yawanawa tribe and sitting with ayahuasca. And so I am going to basically be diving deeper into how I got this opportunity, how I manifested this opportunity to me, how it all came very easily and fun, and just really was like, obviously it was meant to be because of all the things that were able to move and shift for me to make this happen. And also all of the activation and the triggers that are happening in this week as it leads up to me going. I'm going on Monday. Right now it is Monday. So literally 1 week away that I leave for a very, very long trip. Basically long travel day. It's like 15 hours from here to Brazil, then another hour and a half plane ride from Brazil to a smaller town, and then a 2-hour bus ride to a river where we take a riverboat for 7 to 8 hours down to meet the Yawanawa tribe. And so it's a very long travel day, and to stay there for 10 days to basically sit with ayahuasca, sit with an indigenous tribe leading the way. And wow, just saying it out loud, it's like, holy moly. And it definitely activates a lot of parts of me. And I'm hoping that through this podcast, I can offer some inspiration to feel the fear and do it anyway, and how I lead myself through these things. And yeah, so let's get to it. So yes, it is 1 week away before I leave to go sit with ayahuasca. And you couldn't have asked me 2 years ago that I would ever have done something like this. It's not something that I would do. I have a really, really strong need for control. And actually, this is a big reason why I believe this was meant for me and it fell into my lap. And if you've been watching my Instagrams, you follow me on the grams, you kind of heard a little bit about how I manifested this and things like that, but we're going to just dive a little bit deeper into it today. And so basically what had happened was that, last year in 2021, really in like 2020, I started really like going and embarking on a really heavily, and what I mean by heavily spiritual journey, it means that like heavily investing in my spiritual journey, investing in spiritual guides and leaders, psychic intuitives, Reiki masters, spiritual business coaches, like things like this that really would help me stay in the integrity of my own spirituality, would allow me to really show up authentically as well. Because, I didn't have community like this. I didn't have community even just as friendships yet. 2 years ago, as I started embarking on my spiritual journey. And, I've always been very spiritual, but it was like, I always like to say I was spiritually in the closet. If you've heard my other podcast episodes, that's what I like to say, because I was in this industry, especially in tattooing. I just didn't know anybody that was super spiritual. I also had taken like my yoga teacher training, which is really like embarked on my heavily spiritual journey. But I had always knew innately that I knew that there was something more out there. I knew that there was guidance out there. I just didn't quite know what it was. And I didn't want it to turn into religion. And I didn't want it to feel like religious, because I grew up, Christian. And so it was, that didn't feel good to me. And so, it wasn't, so it was just like, I had, like kind of like a weighty time. Like I wanted to push against the idea of being spiritual, because I didn't want it to be religious for me. And as I started to grow and shift into understanding, into my own level of understanding, that I could actually create what it means to be spiritual, and that it's by no definition other than I believe that there's a higher power out there. And if I really do think about it, I think about, if I were just to think about nature and the planet as being the higher power. Anytime like you think about it, if you're looking over a cliff, and you're on top of a mountain and you're looking over that cliff, and that feeling of like, holy shit, like that's a long way down. I believe that that's that feeling of like, I am such a small part of a bigger picture. And that's what spirituality it means to me. And so, and so people can go whichever way. It branches off to so many different niche ways that we can go into it. But for me, in the totality of it, that was what it was. And so as I started to really embark on this journey, I started to really heavily, like invest in my spirituality and things like this. And I started to really understand what it was that I was trying to hold control of, which is, or just really just hold the illusion of control for my life, my business, all the things. And that meant with that control, it was a very patriarchal, masculine, heavy energy into all things that I did. It was very rigid and disciplined, and you wake up at 4:30 every fucking morning and you ran every single day, or you weren't disciplined. If you weren't hustling and grinding every single day, then you were not allowed to have the things that you didn't deserve what you had. Like I just believed in that. And so it was even to the point where, like, when people had an easier time of even getting into this industry, I am super guilty of being like, well, whatever, they didn't work that hard, like, whatever, like, they don't deserve that. Like, those thoughts have crossed my mind, and I'm even admitting it out loud just makes me cringe. It makes me cringe to my core, because it's not what I believe now. But I know, because due to my own experiences and limiting beliefs, and my own idea of deserving, quote unquote, or way of life, or how success looks like, and how you get to success and what that looks like. And so it has shifted so much. And so this idea of control around my business and life was really just the illusion. And when I started to realize that, it started to crumble inside of me. And as I started getting, I started to realize this in like 2020 and 2021. I was like, I need support, because I have nobody to talk to about this. I don't understand this. I don't quite understand what I'm going through. Am I the only one going through it? There was community that I was desperate for. And so, in 2021, near the end of 2021, was the first time I had ever really invested in myself, a heavy, high investment of like 10 grand for 3 months for a spiritual business coach. And Hijina Hosilva is amazing. She is my friend's business coach, psychic intuitive. Oh, she's absolutely amazing. If you don't follow her, you should. I'll put her name in the show notes. She's amazing. And so, I embarked on this journey with her and doing business in a different way, in a spiritual way, because I knew innately that there was a different way of doing things. And like I said, as things started to crumble within me, I was like, oh my God, like I need community. I need support in this. I can't hold on to the old paradigm thinking, the old foundational thinking that was holding me up. And since I don't have a rock solid foundation of who I am anymore, because I'm shifting and transforming, I need help. And so this is the reason why I sought a business coach at the time. And so she gave me almost like the permission to easily lead life in a way, in my feminine flow, to where I don't have to work my fucking ass off every day, and I can call in and be a match to all the prosperity that I want in my life. And, fast forward today, I am a foolproof way. And this is what I teach my own clients and, my own students and my business clients and all the, tattooers and creatives that are seeking a spiritual path toward business and toward life. I realized, and I am definitely one that can say that I've done it, is that, if I'm looking at it from like a money perspective, the amount of work that I've done this year comparatively to the amount of blood, sweat, and tears I did in the last 9 years of my career is definitely dropped by a lot. And I have, doubled my income from what I have made. And so it's like, it's not really necessarily about the money, but it does definitely tend to show you what is possible. And you're like, wow, the thing that I'm doing is actually working in my favor in a way that can actually help me offer more opportunities, not only for myself, but for my family. And, the biggest thing that I ever always wanted my whole life was just to be like, I want to be able to take care of my family. I love taking my best friend out. I love pampering her. I love, pampering my partners, my family, and things like this. Like, I want to be the one where if there's a $400 tab bill, I'm the one who's paying for it. Like, that was just always my goal, because I grew up not so rich. It wasn't like one of those things where I grew up and we had everything handed to us. It wasn't like that. My mom came from a third world country where the mentality was be independent, make a lot of money, get a stable job. And my dad was a little bit, he was more of the like, I want to be happy and be entrepreneurial, but he was very, very, religious. So he's very rigid in his routines and things like this. So both still had a very masculine energy, basically archetype as to the way that they went about life. It's just maybe on different sides of different spectrums. And so, I only understood that it was a lot of hard work. Like the things that I saw my dad do to be an entrepreneur, he did so many different things, he was just very curious. And I think that that's the one thing I can offer. I took from him was that he was always just so curious. He was like, I'm just going to be open to all the things that I really enjoy, see if I can make a business out of it. If I can't, on to the next thing. But that was really hard to watch as a child, to see someone struggling and then to have another parent be in your ear and being like, see, this isn't the way you want to do this. You shouldn't be doing it like this. You need to get a stable, safe job and work your way up in that job. So it was like there was both this independence idea, but one was shaming the other, unfortunately, and it was all out of love. There's no hate or anything from my parents. Like they did the best that they could with what they got. We all do that, and so the only thing we can do is expand our mind as we grow in this life. And so that's it, And so, but this is the experience that I received as a kid, a young adult, and going into my own way of life and figuring things out for myself. And so even though I was given so many beautiful things like curiosity and to always be curious, and by that curiosity and saying yes to curiosity, I was able to find myself in tattooing, and in that tattooing, I was able to find myself doing so many things that, wow, like a lot of people in this industry couldn't even fathom, from TV stuff and magazines and traveling the world and being invited everywhere and all of this really cool, fun stuff. But it all still felt, there was still this masculine, heavy energy involved. It was like there were no boundaries for me. There was always a yes mentality. There was always a people-pleasing mentality. There was always like, even if I didn't want to do it, I did it anyway kind of vibe. And so although it led me to so many really cool experiences, which I wouldn't change for the world, it also led me to believe that, holy shit, like, is this the only way of doing things? And I am literally going to kill myself or hurt myself really badly, whether it be my back, my hands, or saying yes to people that wanted to get drunk, and like me getting drunk in a foreign country and getting lost, which has happened multiple times. And so it's like, these are things that like, like I didn't understand boundaries. It's how to say no. I didn't really know how to listen to my intuition. And even though it would be screaming at me to being like, don't do this thing. And even though I did the thing and I learned a lot from it, there are certain experiences that I could have done without, certain television shows I could have done without, and certain, even though I heard the no, I went after it anyway because I was like, this is an opportunity. Good publicity is good, bad or good publicity is good, bad or good publicity. And that was the thing you heard from everybody. And so it's just, how do I stay authentic to myself and understand that, that I can release, like, this isn't actually control. This thing that I think I'm doing isn't actually control of my business. This is just, this is self-sabotage, really. It's self-sabotaging for myself because I don't actually know who I am. Which means I therefore don't know what I want. I therefore have, no idea of where it is I want to go because I don't know any of those other two things. And so now I'm completely lost. And then in this being lost, here comes another spiritual awakening. I've had many, and you will have many as you go and embark on this journey, is that you will have a death and rebirth, a death and rebirth. And so I had a major death in this, and then a rebirth where I was like, this isn't the way that I want to do things. And then I realized my foundation is crumbling. I don't know who I am. And, it got worse. And so as I started to really get clear, I was like, okay, well, I need help. So let me get help. Let me get therapy. Let me get spiritual guides. Let me do life differently. Let me be my own example of the thing that or be my own inspiration on the thing that I've been striving for just last year when I realized this is what's happening within me, and come now today and seeing the fruits of my labor, seeing the actuality in real time, seeing how it has changed so much in real time and how much prosperity I have called to me from an easeful place. And so with all of that being said, it's like here comes this opportunity. This happened, I think, back in February, and not even in February. Okay, so let's go back to how I manifested ayahuasca into my life. So this is the reason why I said yes. Everything that I just told you was the reason why I said yes to Aya. I was like, I need to understand that I have no semblance of control. And if I can allow myself to easily, honestly go into a situation where I'm going to release the control, release the expectation of the outcome, I'm going to do it. And so let's fast backward to January 1st, 2022. I was in Joshua Tree. I was a little lost soul at the time. I had my mentor for about 2 months who had been very, very supportive. I had my therapist for about 6 months and who has also been super supportive. However, I had gone through a pretty eye-opening breakup, and I was just in search of like soul searching. And so I was in the middle of the desert, spent my New Year's Day in the middle of nowhere with my dog, reading on a porch, watching the sunrise in the desert in the cold. And I was just like, I'm going to write down all of the things that I really want to call into my life. And this is where, I had just taught Inspired and Aligned, which is my annual workshop that I do, where we, get really in tuned and ready for the new year and how we can align ourselves with the new year. And so I often like to do these ritualistic and ceremonial cutting cords and ties and things like this. And so I had just done this. I just taught this class, and I was like, all right, let's let me get into it. When you teach something, you're not actually you're not in it. And so it's like almost me teaching myself, me allowing myself to ritualize the experience in Joshua Tree by myself. And so what I ended up doing was I ended up just cutting all the cords, cutting the cords of the past and allowing that to be clear and clean for me so that I can open up space and allow myself to hold more and to call in what it is that I now want, considering that I am a new transitioned woman. And as I transition, that will change and change and change and change. As I evolve, there's change. As I evolve, there's change in what I want. And so in the amount of things that I wrote down, there were 16 actually. I just read them the other day and I was just like in tears, yesterday when I was reading my journal of that time, and how lost and sad I was at the time, but how much strength I had to hold myself in the position to be like, no, but I'm going to change this because I'm strong enough, because I've always been strong enough to hold me and to have my own back, no matter what it was. No matter where I was, what it was, what I was doing, I always had the strength to hold my own back. So I just knew that about me. And so I was like, I knew that as I was reading these journal entries, and the reason why I made the Instagram post yesterday, because it was the one journal entry that I had written about one of the goals that I had set for 2022, was one of which was further understanding my limiting beliefs and shadows so that I can release them into becoming the upgraded version of myself that stands bolder and rooted in my leadership. That was one of my goals. And a lot of people, and I did write down all the ones that it's like, oh, I want to make $500,000 by December 31st. I want to call in 16 people for Inspired Academy. If you don't know what that is, go check the show notes. Inspired Academy, 16 students into Inspired Academy. I want to, have more time freedom so that I can, offer myself more love. And so, it was like I had all of these ones that felt more tangible, all these goals, but then there were like 6 or 7 of them that weren't like exactly tangible. It was, this particular one hit home for me because I realized that literally as I was reading my journal, I flipped out to I was scrolling through it and intuitively opened in a page and it says, I'm ready. And then all of a sudden, all it said was, I'm ready. And then it said, Mama Aya, ? And I don't even remember writing that. And then all of a sudden, come May or June, when I had decided to re-up with my psychic mentor and spiritual business coach, Hajina, I was like, oh, I'm going to re-up with her. I'm going to do another 3 months with her because, we've already quantum leaped what I, you know, like in my entire coaching business, I had doubled in 2 months that I made the entire year before. So not only had she helped me in the business, strategic, and structural aspect, she helped me in the energetic and intuitive aspect, which is like something I hold so true and what I've cultivated so much in my body to embody this understanding so that I can teach it to tattoo artists in the perspective of like how we do that with our creativity, how we do that with our business, how we do that with our life. And so it has become my mission to teach other people this. So it was like, this is what I was learning. And all of a sudden she's like, hey, you know what? I'm actually going back to the Amazon rainforest, which she had been like a million times. And, you know, every time she had come back, like the biggest reason why I even started following this woman was because, you know, she was so embodied in like TikTok and Instagram. And she always talked about, you know, sitting with plant medicine and things like this and how much it had helped her in her business. And I was like, wow, I never really even thought of that ever. Because again, if you would have asked me in 2 years, not only did I want to lose control, but the control aspect of what I didn't want to lose was the fact that I was like, oh, like in my masculine energy, being so far into my masculine energy, there was no way that I was going to be able to take that. There was no way I was going to be able to take, because in my mind, I was not allowed to take 2 weeks off to go sit in some rainforest. Like if I was traveling, I was working. I have never, ever traveled almost in my entire career up until maybe last year. Yeah, for sure. Maybe last year. I never traveled for vacation. I always only traveled for work. And to be honest, in the very beginning years, I didn't start staying longer anywhere I was until maybe 2019. And that was only like one trip, and then 2020 hit, and we all know what that shit happened. So, you know, and so like I never really stayed any longer to explore the place I was in. I was just like, nope, work, out. I would literally be in France, take a 10-hour flight, 15-hour flight to France, and 15-hour flight because I was so like stingy with my money that I refused to eat. I was like, let me get the cheapest flight with 3 layovers and, you know, cramped spots, sit me in the back next to the fucking bathroom and, you know, and 15 hours, stay there for only the convention, leave that Monday, do the same thing, fly home, then literally work the Tuesday. I get home the Monday night, I work the Tuesday next day. Like that was my mentality. It was like, I had money limiting beliefs. I had, you know, very masculine energy. I had a very interesting way, not just masculine energy. I don't want to make that sound like it's negative, but masculine heavy energy in the way that I didn't understand how I was utilizing that energy. I was not utilizing it as to support my feminine flow and creativity. I was literally only in my masculine and literally like drowning my poor feminine, where she was not even allowed to have a say in the room. And so it's like, no, I was like a go, go, go. And the days that I did burn the fuck out and had like massive depression, I would turn to substance. I would turn to, let's go drinking every night. Let me take, you know, or let me smoke some weed or watch Netflix and all this stuff. And although those things are totally fine to do, no matter what, like no shame on that. It's more just like the reason why I was doing it. I was trying to escape the feeling of feeling down and unmotivated and uncreative and feeling blocked and just like, I don't want to feel this way, so I'm going to turn to substance to make myself feel like fake positive, fake happy. And so, you know, that's why it was like, you couldn't have told me 2 years ago that I'd be doing Aya, because that didn't even sit well with me. There was no way. If I wasn't making money every day, I was a failure. That's the belief in my body. That was the belief in my body. And so when I received this idea that it could be for business, I was like, wow, if I'm going to have a spiritual awakening there for my business, then fuck yeah, I'm going. And that was the process. That was the thought process at that time in May. And I was still super fucking scared because I was like, oh my God, I'm about to do ayahuasca. I never wanted to do that. And it was supposed to happen in July, actually. So the trip was scheduled for July. I had signed up in May. I didn't know the details. I just said yes. My body was like a full body yes. And then my ego started creating stories about why I shouldn't do it and all this stuff. And it was like old patterns, old masculine energy patterns of like, what, you're not going to work for 2 weeks. Holy fuck. Like, what is happening? La, la, la. And so this is what happens. So I'm like, okay, I don't have to sit with ayahuasca. I'm like logically telling my body, like, I don't have to sit with ayahuasca. I could just go and be a part of the thing and be in the cultural space of this indigenous tribe and just experience an adventure and all of this stuff. So this is what I'm like logically telling myself at the time. And then unfortunately the chief got really sick, and so the trip was postponed to October. And in, you know, as I am moving through launching things, being more embodied in the woman that I am meant to be, and really just taking on all of this, you know, all of these new things, launching Inspired twice, which wasn't planned but exciting. I was taking more time off. I was traveling and staying longer in places. Everything was going great with my, you know, tattoo shop. I was about to expand. I had started reaching all the goals that I had made on January 1st, 2022. I had just gotten exclusive with, you know, the man that I actually manifested. He was also on the goal list of 2022. And, you know, and so it just became like all of these things were like coming together. And then recently you know, I started to feel again like a quantum crumble. I was like, wow, something's feeling misaligned. Something's feeling a little off. And this happens. If you're on a growth journey, just expect that you are going to always often have triggers, misalignments. You're going to be in the thick of it, because as you continuously shed the layers of limiting beliefs within you, you get deeper into the root of who you are. But finding that person, coming back, not finding that person, because you are always your true self. Your true self is within you. It's just having to remove all the layers of old beliefs that no longer serve you. And so it's constantly like, if you're watching this on YouTube or something, you're watching me literally pulling layers off. It's like taking another layer off of clothing and taking another layer off of clothing, because it's so fucking hot outside and you're just like, wow, everybody's wearing all these sweaters. It's fucking hot. I'm sweating. As you learn more, that's like you just being like, I can't be this hot anymore. I just can't wear these kinds of clothes. Like, these people are crazy. Your level of awareness becomes so heightened and your energy becomes so potent, and you're starting to realize like how you protect that energy and all of this stuff. So when you're on this journey, it's constant growth. And so I started feeling a crumble. I started feeling misalignment. I started feeling that like things and people around me were no longer a match to me. And I started trying to force them to be a match to me. I was like, no, I can't let go of this. And of course, old patterning comes into my mind, like, holy shit. You know, if you listen to my last podcast on how I manifested my artists to go on their own, and how I manifested my own studio back again to myself, like craziness. But this actually happened because of a crumble. I was like, man, like, I love everybody around me. I love everybody that's in my life. But sometimes we grow out of them. Sometimes we shift and evolve. And, you know, and it's the same thing. It's like when we grow out of people, they grow out of us. But it just depends on how we want to handle the separation. And sometimes the others might not realize that they grow out of us. They're just like, no, I don't want to let go. This is fucked up. But what actually ended up happening was something so beautiful, was that I was like, no, I think it's time. I had a vision from, you know, intuition, inner wisdom, spirit, and source, that I was meant to be on my own for a little while. And I did not like that idea. My ego didn't like that idea at all. My ego was like, oh, hell no. First off, that's fucked up. You can't just, you know, toss your artist to the side. That's not the way to do things. And second off, that there's a lot of money in that. And you're about to go on a major trip. You're trying to get a new shop. You're trying to do all of these things that, you know, like all of that is all of the money that they are putting into the shop is basically a new investment to that. That's what you said to them. And I was like, fuck. So I was having this war about loyalty to myself and loyalty to just people around me, because I'm not the kind of person just to like discard things. But I knew deep within my soul, as it started to get louder and louder, my intuition was just like, it's time, Reese. Like, it's time. We're no longer a match to each other. And I had a conversation. If you listen to the last podcast, you'll know how all that happened. But basically at the end of it, we all are ending and uncoupling basically in a very beautiful, easeful way. And that's the funny part, is that's how you know it's meant. Because it is meant, like it's meant to be, and the universe is just like, I'm going to make this really easy on you because you're going to have other things that you're going to have to deal with right now, and this is not something that you're going to deal with. This is when I trusted so much so and I had so much faith in myself and also in the universe and source and spirit, basically, that they were like, my spirit guides were like, yeah, we're going to make this easy on you because you're about to have another fucking meltdown. And here I am laughing about it because I am now a version of myself that I've always wanted to be, the version of myself in one of my goals, which is becoming the upgraded version of myself that stands bolder and rooted in my leadership. And you know what that means? Not only leadership to others, but leadership to myself. And so why? How I manifested this trip doesn't mean that this trip is going to make me a bolder, rooted more leader. It's actually how I got to this trip. The trip actually might just be the reward of me going through all the trials and tribulations just to get there. Or it's going to be the experience of like, yeah, it's going to initiate the fuck out of me, which I truly believe it's going to. But what I'm looking at it as is that I am the upgraded version of myself today, right now. Because if there was no way that I would have made all of those decisions that I had made coming from source and spirit. Like when I look at my life as a spirit-led woman, I lead a spirit-led business. When I think of spirit, I think of spirituality and whatever higher power that might be for me. It might not be the same thing for you, but for me, it's like nature, the universe, source energy within me that I cultivate. Oneness, And so it's like, if I didn't lead myself in these ways through all of the ups and downs of just this year alone and how I led myself here, how I manifested this into my life. I am the upgraded version, and I will continuously become the upgraded version. And so what this trip means to me and how I interpret it and how it feels really right in my soul to be interpreted in this way is that I have been doing the work to understand my limiting beliefs and shadows so that I can release them. And maybe this is my chance to initiate myself and release them, through Mama Aya. But I'm leading myself to it. I'm literally leading myself. I'm rooted in my beliefs, and bolder meaning like I am a believer. Like I am full send witchy woo woo. I am definitely that artist. Like I am the woo woo artist for sure. And you cannot shake me from it because I have experienced massive abundance and growth and crumbles and things, and truly just stuck to the belief that I have my own back, the universe has my back, and no matter what I'm going to go through, I'm going to get on the other side fucking winning, no matter what. That's just the way I look at it. That's just the perspective I have now. That's a belief within me. That's a switched belief. That was something that I had always wanted to believe, but you need to integrate and move through things to allow that belief to become a new belief within you. And so what's happening right now as I'm leading myself as a bolder, rooted leader as of today, what's happening is that like the trigger that's coming up is old patterning of masculine energy. It's like, oh my God, we're about to take 2 weeks off. Everybody. So what happened, let me circle back a little bit. What happened is that all my artists left so easily because we said that, or I said the universe is like, here, we're gonna make this easy for you because you're gonna go through something else much harder that's gonna feel harder. And so like I said, ego was like, oh, there's a lot of money leaving and but I was like, no, this is the right way. And of course it happened in such a beautiful way. My artists are happy. They're happy to go on their own. They're They're doing their thing. I'm happy because I'm about to shift and change in my business and what I'm offering as far as like coaching opportunities. And what this does is it puts more room in my shop, since my shop is actually kind of small, before I move to a new shop, that I can allow to start to shift my business in a different way and shift in my own curiosity of what I want to be curious with. I'm like, wow, I really, really want to dive deeper into this style of education, which is more like tattoo technical, and offer apprenticeships and offer like one-on-ones for artists that want to come out and be with me for a day, and we can shadow each other and see what your tattoo techniques are and like up level that, and not just on the business side. And so since I was curious about that, that's something I'm curious about, I'm passionate about, I was like, okay, let's fucking full send it. And knowing, I was like, okay, well, I'm constantly trying to control, again here with the word control, how the money's going to come in, because I no longer have artists bringing money in. And so all of a sudden I didn't realize what this trip was entailed. I didn't know it was going to be 2 weeks gone. It came up out of nowhere, and I was like, holy shit, it's here. And now my old patterning is like, holy fuck, Reese, you're not working for 2 weeks. You have no artists working for 2 weeks. It's literally zero money coming in. That's what my ego said. That's not necessarily true, but that's what my ego said. And of course, my whole body is going into hyper fucking activated mode where I'm like, what do I got to do? I got to work more days, like da 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 da. And it's like, here comes the bolder rooted leader coming to save the day, to re-regulate my nervous system, to allow me to remember who I am, to know that I have my own back, and to realize again that the universe has my back too. And so I'm here talking to you today as a more bolder and rooted leader, the one that I so badly wanted to be on January 1st of 2022 as I made these goals. And here I am being like, I hit that goal. Holy fuck. And it all took this situation for me to take like 2 weeks off to really understand it. Now, am I going to be initiated while I'm in there? Hell fucking yeah, I am. Because it doesn't mean that my old patterns won't show up for me. It just means that I recognize them as old patterns. And the more that we can recognize and be aware of our old patterns, that's when we know that we no longer identify with them. We don't say that that is us. We see it happening and hold it in compassion, but it is not us. It is a part of us that is no longer necessary. So what we can do is choose a different pattern, choose a different belief. And that is what I'm doing and offering myself and leading myself through today. Fuck, I need to celebrate. So this is in real time, how I lead myself through triggers, limiting beliefs. And so, and I'm still having to do this. This is a constant thing. It's a constant journey. There's no destination. And that's the one thing, is that everybody's like, I just want to be healed. And I'm like, well, you're going to be dead by the time that you reach your destination, because there is no just healed. You're going to heal parts of yourself, but then you're going to find other parts that aren't healed. And then, and it's going to be people that are going to show us these things, and relationships and experiences that are going to show us where we are like, wow, I feel really rooted in this, but holy fuck, I feel super unstable in this. And so this is where we become our own best friend. And this is where self-love becomes a huge part of your growth journey, because we have to be like, no matter what fucking thing happens in my life, I've got me. And I know for a fact that love is so universal, that the universe wants love for me too. And that anything that happens in this lifetime is just the universe offering me an opportunity to up level, to get to a next level fucking self-love and more prosperity in the way of three-dimensional things, money, things, and whatever on the other side. And that's what I believe. I truly believe that to my core, because I have been through a lot and come out winning on the other side. And it becomes a thing where the money is just the byproduct of the woman that I am being, and the leader that I am being. As I become more rooted in that leadership and more ingrained into the woman that I want to be, the more everything will come to me. And this is the reason why even if I have my fucking, oh my God, I'm not working, all this other stuff, I believe in magic. I believe that all I had to do was open up the pathways. So I have all of these programs open, all this coaching open for me. And I am like, you know what? There's all these pathways people can find me. And maybe if I make no money, that's whatever. Money comes and it goes. You know, at the end of the day, what do we take with us? Our experiences. What do we remember? Our experiences. Am I the kind of person that says no? Or am I the kind that says no to an experience because of my own limiting beliefs, money limiting beliefs, whatever limiting beliefs that might be surrounding a egoic decision like no? Or am I going to say yes and be like, holy fuck, here's the learning lesson in this. Here is my reward to this. And here again is another initiation to up level. So cool. It's so fucking cool. It's like when I think about the manifestation, I didn't even ask for this. I didn't even ask. I didn't even truly be like, my goal is to go to ayahuasca. That wasn't even the goal. The goal was to further understand my limiting beliefs and shadows so that I can release them into becoming the upgraded version of myself that stands bolder and rooted in my leadership. But this is what I believe the answer is from the universe. This is what is like, I'm going to offer you this experience. I'm going to change the dates from July to October, let you find yourself exactly where you need to be to let go of certain things, trigger you again, activate you, see how you lead yourself through it, and see what happens. Are you actually going to hear me out, says the universe, and go to the Amazon and be in your feminine being? Because another one of my goals was to allow myself to move slower, be more intentional with the things that I do, and to allow my feminine to have balance within my feminine and be in the being instead of the doing. And I'm literally getting everything I asked for in my goal list. I've already surpassed all of the other goals when in the way of financial. I said I wanted to make $500,000 by December 31st. I have already done that. I have already made that. And I still have 3 months left. So whatever else is just extra. I wanted to call in 16 people to Inspired Academy. I've way overdone that. I had called in 64 people into Inspired Academy. You know, I wanted to have more, I wanted to have more time freedom. Guess what? I had opportunities to go into coaching and programs to release money beliefs that no longer served me. And when I released those money beliefs, it allowed me to say no, to stop working so much, because I know my worth and the value of the thing that I offer. And so it allowed me to raise my prices. Money beliefs had me raise my prices because I released those money beliefs, allowed me to raise my prices, to not be so stingy. Whenever I buy a plane ticket, no longer taking me 15 hours, I'm like, I'm upgrading. And I'm going to spend the extra X amount of dollars in order to have an experience that's better so that I can feel more rested, so that when I get to the convention, I am creating from my highest creative self. So all in all, what I'm doing is I'm offering myself, more time so that I can integrate into the woman I want to be, so I can show up in the world and lead by example. That's the point. I was like, holy fuck, all of these goals I had that literally didn't say, I want to go to ayahuasca and I want to upgrade to first class and all of these things. It was like, no, I want more time freedom. And oh my God, I just have to release some money beliefs and understand that the rest and experience that I offer myself is going to is literally going to reflect in the work that I do as a tattoo artist, as a creative, as a coach. What the fuck? You could not have told me. That's why I always tell people. That's why I tell my students, my coaching students, my coaching clients, my artists, my shop, my apprentices, even my clients, my tattoo clients. It's like, set the goal, release the outcome, release the how. Forget about the how. You don't know how it's going to come. You may think, have a pathway, have a path of going that way, but understand that when intuition comes knocking on your door and starts telling you to go a different way, this is where you listen. This is how we have an easeful experience in life and business. You want to know how I quantum leaped? Is because I listened. I have a spirit-led business. I listened to spirit. I listened. I was like, oh, fuck, I'm not going to say yes to this even though I really want to, and it's going to make me a lot of money. But there's something in me that's saying this isn't right. So instead of tamping that down like I normally would, I'm going to listen and go a different direction. And guess what happens? Oh my God, I just made double of the thing that I didn't think I was going to do. Oh my gosh, I had a way better time. Oh my gosh, I showed up way more creatively. I felt so much more creative because I was able to spend this money and upgrade and do the thing. Like, we don't know the how. We don't know how we're going to get there. We can set the goal. We can have a path. But if that path and we come up against an intuitive feeling like, that's not right, I got to go on a different path, listen. That's the part where we get free will. It's not we get to choose. We get the free will aspect of like, yeah, the universe wants to guide us in a more easeful direction. It might not feel easeful at the time. It might feel like a lot of fucking triggering and activating feelings. And you're like, fuck, I don't want to feel that belief or anything like that. But wait, if I go down that road, if I go down that hard, uncomfortable road, maybe on the other side, I'm actually going to quantum leap. Or I can take the longer route, the more linear route, the idea that like, this is the logical route to go. So I'm going to go this route instead because I'm going to tamp down my intuition and not listen to that. And I'm going to go the more logical, practical, easier way, this way, which you could still potentially get to where you want to go. It's just it might take longer. But you're still left with all those limiting beliefs, all of those shadows, all of the things that you need to heal within you. And those are the parts of you that are making the decisions for you. But when you can move through that healing, you can move through all that stuff, you don't realize how much your healing contributes to your business, how much your healing contributes to the prosperity, the wealth, the impact of your life. And that's what I was asking for in all 16 of my goals. All 16 of my goals, whether it be wanting $500,000 in the year or whether it be becoming a better leader, all I was asking from the universe heard it sounding like, oh, so you want to heal. You want to heal fast. I got you. I'm going to trigger the fuck out of you. And I'm going to make you feel fucking crazy. But if you can move through this, you're going to get everything that you actually want in the 3-dimensional world that is Earth and human experience. What the fuck? Oh my God, this is it. When you get the taste of the Kool-Aid and like that, you're like, oh fuck, I want to, but this is scary. This is where you have to have your own back. And this is how I understand manifestation. And this is the reason why, my archetype in human design, I'm a manifesting generator. I manifest a lot of things really, really fast. And it is because I set the goal, have the pathway, listen to intuition, surrender the how, and surrender the outcome. If I don't make it, if I don't actually reach that goal, there is a motherfucking reason. There is a motherfucking reason. And if I'm not reaching that goal, I am not mad about it. I am fucking celebrating. I am going to celebrate that I worked hard to even just for the journey to getting there. Because I know that it is coming. And that's the thing. And so this is how I look at manifestation. This is how I manifest things in my life. And this is how I interpret things. I'm not saying that everybody has to do it, but hey, baby, everybody I know that knows how to manifest really, really well, this is the way. And it's a tough way. It's a hard way. It's a like walking through quicksand kind of way. But fuck, it's so juicy and they're so expansive. And you feel like you've lived 1,000,000 lives in 1 year. And I feel like I've had deaths and rebirths so many times more this year than I've ever had in my life. And I wouldn't trade it for the fucking world. So that is my spiel on how I manifested Mama Aya to me. And I'm really so excited as I lead up closer to these days to share along my journey with you on all of this. and what I gain, what insight and clarity I gain on the other side of this. So I am so excited to share this with you guys. I love you guys so much, and thank you for being a part of my journey. I'll see you in the next episode.